Hey, welcome back to another special edition of the Habs Nation podcast on the great Thursday night, December 19, 2024. We are back, and many of you may be thinking, Coach going to take a day off after I said yesterday, maybe not, but I cannot. We have to work. We have to show up talking about the Montreal Canadiens because, honestly, we need to talk about the big trait for the Montreal Canadiens with the Nashville Predators. We're going to evaluate that trait. We'll talk about even Demidov today. Talk about how the Calgary Flames can speed the rebuild of the Montreal Canadiens. We'll talk about is it the end for David Savard? What's next for Ken Hughes? And many other things about the Montreal Canadiens before they play tomorrow against the Detroit Red Wings. We're going to talk about the preview game, the both game against the Detroit Red Wings. What the impact of those games? What do you expect? And we're going to talk about different things about the Montreal Canadiens tonight. That's what is the subject of this show tonight. And then we have 9 games and program on the NHL tonight. I believe the New Jersey Devils take the holidays a little bit earlier this year. They losing 3-0 against the Columbus Blue Jacket. The Tampa lead 3-1 against the St. Louis Blues. The Kings just scored a second goal and take the lead 2-1 against the Flyers. Tanner Janat scored his 4th goal of the year. The Predators, if they win tonight, I believe it will be the first time they win 2 games back-to-back, winning 1-0 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jonathan Marchessault, after a really difficult beginning of the season, scored his 9th goal of the year, assist by Forsberg and Luc Shine. Interesting, Luc Shine, his first assist of the year. I don't know. Kraken visits the Blackhawks at Connor Bedard. The Ottawa Senators, the Calgary Flames. You know what I'm doing tonight. After the show, I'm going to watching the Flame. Unfortunately, they lost 4-3 against the Boston Bruins after they lead 3-1. 3 goals of the Boston Bruins, 2 goals on the third period and on overtime. David Pastrnak. But Calgary get a 1 point. It's not too bad. Boston Bruins play the Edmonton Letter. Vancouver versus the Golden Knights. And then the Colorado finish the night again. McLean Celebrini for the Sharks. Same number of point like Lane Hudson at 22. So that's what we got in NHL. And tonight, we have a special guest. Not a special guest. It's someone pop up in the last couple of weeks with us, bringing a lot of knowledge about hockey and more about the Montreal Canadiens, run a show on the YouTube channel. And he contribute more and more with us. And we are really grateful and thankful to have him with us. When he have a chance to be with the Hockey Nation and with you, all of you. So, why not to welcome back, less further ado, directly from Nova Scotia and the east of the Maritime in Canada. He's back in the house tonight, Mr. Devin is here.
What's going on, Coach? Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome back, Devin. How everything in Nova Scotia?
Things are good. It's cold, getting colder every day. We're expecting a big snowstorm, our first of the year, coming up soon, probably tomorrow evening. I'm hoping it actually is snow and not rain because in Nova Scotia, it's always kind of right around 0. So, we're getting ready for Christmas and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's Canada. It's dark and it's cold and it's Canada. The opposite of where you are.
I try to not remember what looked like Canada, but yeah, it's it's tail ends about 90, 88, 85, 90, and the night is about 75, 78. When you walk, like you cannot imagine to walk at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and it's still 35. It's, you don't worry about rain. You don't worry about snow. You don't worry. It's easy to walk around here and to enjoy the weather. It's the one thing we love about that. By the way, guys, we invite, first of all, Devin and also everybody. We have a party at the Hockey Nation. It's going to be Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. The Christmas party. of the Hockey Nation. So 8:30, you're welcome to join the family of the Hockey Nation. They've been live with many other hosts and many other people going to join us. Pittsburgh tied the game 1-1. Brian Ross, 13th goal of the year, assisted by Crosby and Raquel, 1-1 Nashville and Pittsburgh Penguins. That game is very important for both teams, honestly, on different ways. And Pittsburgh tried to catch up the wild card and the Eastern, and then Nashville tried to get out at the bottom. I don't think so. Barron played tonight. I'll be shocking if he played tonight, but I did not look the lineup of the Nashville Predators. So, welcome everybody. We have a few people. Tony the Mark, welcome back. Thanks so much. John, JG Corville, welcome back. JG Corville. RDP, back in the house directly from Newfoundland. RDP, hopefully we're doing well. And we have Philippe. Philippe, back from Sherbrooke, de la belle région de Sherbrooke. I'm watching Canada-Suisse, by the way, David, on one TV. I'm watching the Tampa Bay on my other TV. Canada lead 4-0 against the Swiss. Have a lot of great hockey players inside of that team, of course. You know, it's always been different controversy cut players, but they're looking good tonight. Swiss, you know, it is what it is. The World Championship starts after Christmas, Devin. We're going to do live, you know, to all the game for the Team Canada. This year is at Ottawa, by the way, so it'll be easy for me. Don't have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, so they'll be good about that one. Team USA is a very good team, by the way. We're going to talk about the World Championship and Junior Championship next couple minutes, but I know you want to add something, so let's go.
No, I was just going to say that I'm trying to watch the game as well, but my IPTV is acting up. So right now I'm looking at one of those circles that goes round and round and round telling me to please wait. So, yeah, so maybe it'll come on eventually, but right now I'm looking at a blank screen. So.
We have Alan Veanco, Iran. Alan, hopefully you're doing well. Did I see you? It's only game that the Montreal Canadiens won yesterday, 2 days ago. So hopefully you're doing well. Sam, welcome back. What about Jeremy Allah? Jeremy, hopefully you have a great month of December, ready for rock and roll your Christmas time with your family. Claude Richard, directement de la belle province de l'Ontario, dans la région de Ottawa, de la capitale du Canada. Tony DeMarc. Tony, hopefully doing well. RDP again, thanks to be with us. Again, don't forget, please, to click on the likes. We're going to talk about this is a special edition of the Thursday night. You know, we're not too hanging all together. Nothing big, nothing fancy tonight. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more people in the next couple of minutes. But thanks to be with us. And Devin, again, we'll see happening tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. So the first thing we want to talk about is the trade between the Montreal Canadiens and the Nashville Predators. I think was a really good trade for the Montreal. I call this a home run by Ken Hughes. I'm going to explain why it's a home run, first of all, and the reason behind that. And I would like to hear from you about this. I apologize. I was playing around a couple of minutes ago. How do you feel about that trade for the Montreal Canadiens for Alexandre Carrier for Justin Barron?
I think I'm coming to terms with liking it. I wasn't sure if I liked it right away for a couple of reasons. One, I kind of didn't like the idea of trading a younger player for an older player. I think I've come to terms with the fact that Carrier is still, quite young, and his contract is still only, what are we looking at, 2 more years on his contract after this year. So it's not like we're, signing up, a player who's in his 30s for, 4 or 5 years. So I think I'm okay with that. In a way, I kind of would have liked to have traded. I mean, it's a right-hander for a right-hander. I mean, I love the idea of getting another right-hander, right-handed defenseman, but again, we're losing one as well. So I don't think we really changed, or the Canadians really changed their, their situation as far as that's concerned. I'm not. I mean, I know Carrier is older. He's got more experience and whatever. Statistically, he's not substantially better than Justin Barron, so I'll wait to see what he looks like on the ice. before I make judgment on that. I mean, again, he has experience. He's good on the PK. All those different things. That way, I think it will be better. He brings that to the room. He is a right-hander who will be in the lineup on a regular basis, whereas Ben was a guy who was a right-hander who was only in the lineup sporadically so far this year. So I think in the end, it probably will end up being a good trade for Montreal. I do think that Barron probably still will succeed in the NHL at some point. But unfortunately, his time ran out in Montreal. So I'll be interested to see Carrier play tomorrow, and I think it will be interesting and fun. And I think he certainly will be an improvement. The other thing I guess I will say as well is that I kind of like Jaden Struble, and this to me is going to keep Jaden Struble out of the lineup. And I don't think that's a good thing for Montreal. I think Jaden Struble's had a really good year this year. I think him partnered with Arbor Xhekaj is a good match. And I think the two of those guys together, in my view, have played quite well. And I'm not sure that taking Jaden Struble out of the lineup on a more permanent basis is a recipe for success for the Canadiens. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, I think we'll know pretty quickly whether Carrier is going to fit in and what kind of difference it makes. But it'll be interesting to see. Again, I think one of my biggest disappointments will be that I think this will keep Jaden Struble out of the lineup. I like him, and I think he should get more ice time.
Yeah, but obviously he cannot take the spot of Hudson. He cannot take a spot of Xhekaj. He cannot take a spot of Madison. So that would be the problem for the Jaden Struble in the next couple of years without talking yet about Adam Ekstrom. So that would be really difficult, Struble, to be with the Montreal Canadiens in the future. I don't think so. It would be, he's going to be jammed on the left side, and that's a problem for Jaden Struble. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's as the hockey team, you need to pick. You have to have the better player on the. It's not easy to be consistency in NHL for Carrier, but Carrier is a 28 years old, 5'11", 135. More oriented as a defensive player compared to an offensive player. I love that trait. That shows two things for me. First of all, can use Montreal Canadiens doesn't want tank. If they want to tanking or tank, whatever you want to call it, but he will not make a trade. He will stuck with Barron and Struble and wait until the end. And I think that trait is to show they really care about the team. It's not about the pick. They pick third or sixth. For them, it's no matter. They would pick the best player at their eyes at the NHL draft, the next one and the next one and the next one. That's what they are. So for me, it satisfies the right side of Montreal Canadiens. For me, he brings consistency, a top 4 defenseman. For me, that would bring another Savard younger. For me, less minute Mike Madison on the PK. For me, is an improvement on the defensive zone coverage for the Montreal Canadiens. For me, it rewards all the effort for the Montreal Canadiens and tell the players, listen, guys, we want to give you the best we can to helping you to make a better run for the rest of the season. For me, they try to be back in the mix, or they try to bring that team better way until the end of the season. So yeah, a lot of great positive things about that, and they think about a little bit longer. And I think he fit exactly what Ken Hughes tried to tell us during the summer. It's a window of 3 years for the Montreal Canadiens. They really believe, David, they are looking to improve the team and to reach the level of what they expect to be in the playoff in 3 years. And that's the way they market the UFA last year. The offer contract for Marchessault, it was a 3 years contract. Yeah, any deal they want to do it, they don't want any player over 3 years with the Montreal Canadiens. That's the reason they pick Patrick Laine. And I think that's what Ken Hughes consider to do it. Alexandre Carrier, guys, is only 2 years. He fit in the window of the improvement of Logan Mailloux, the improvement of David Rebacker, and see what happened with Bogdan Konishkov. So next right defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. So, and that will maybe open a door for the departure of David Savard. We're going to talk about that the next segment. But that's how I see that, David, about that transaction for the Montreal Canadiens. So,
I agree. I agree with that completely. I think you're bang on, Coach. I mean, it's exactly the same move they were trying to make in the summer, and it fits perfectly within their plan. I mean, I agree with you completely. I think you're bang on.
yeah, I agree with you. Charles Alain Viancourt, welcome back. Mac Elliott, welcome. Thanks to be with us tonight. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Mark said, Alexandre Carrier improved the Likanen trade for me. It will be good bridge until Ekstrom and Mayu are ready. Good point, Mark. The trade for Likanen is going to looking a little bit better. But the key now on that trade, Mark, is really Michael Edge. Right? If Michael Edge can become a better hockey, not better, but a good the future for the Montreal Canadiens, I think the Canadian trade will not be too bad. And a trade, Devin, and it's not like only a couple of years. It could take a longer and longer. We can make a three of the trade and realize at the end, wow, that's better what we expect at some point. So we'll see what's happening. Charles talk about Carrier gave Habs an option now to deal Savard by trade deadline. If Mayu is not ready, they can recall Lindstrom as a quick fix to the end of the season. Charles, not disagree with your comments. I would just said to you, it would take a lot to bring back Gustav Lindstrom with the Montreal Canadiens. First of all, they will use Strobel, honestly, even before Lindstrom. Secondly, I believe they will use call up maybe Adam Ekstrom before they call up Logan Mayu on that option, and they would prefer to get Ekstrom over Lindstrom. I think Lindstrom played an amazing, great role, like David Savard does with the Montreal Canadiens, with the Laval Rocket, Gustav Lindstrom. There was a great key, important player to add the lineup for the Rocket. He stabilized really that defensive, and with the regressing or the disappointment of Logan Mayu, this is a good pick for the Laval Rocket. What do you think about Lindstrom?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think Lindstrom is that defensive defenseman. You make it. It's a good comparison when you say he plays sort of the David Savard role on the Laval Rocket. I don't watch the Rocket as much as you do. To me, for him to come up to Montreal, it would involve a scenario where the Canadiens have traded or lost to injury, a couple of current defensemen. Like they're not going to bring Lindstrom, as you say, up before they bring up Engstrom or Mayu. But if, let's say, at the trade deadline they need Savard, and let's say, for argument's sake, that Alexandre Carrier, turns his game around to the point where the Canadiens can flip him at the trade deadline for a really good asset, because a contender could really use him. So in a scenario like that, I think you might see a guy like Lindstrom come up. But at the end of the day, I think his opportunities to make Montreal Canadiens, even in the short term, are pretty limited. Like you say, I mean, even Jaden Struble probably will be ahead of him on the depth chart from a defensive perspective. So I think a lot of things would have to happen, and there'd have to be a lot of changes within the Canadiens' defensive core in order for Lindstrom to come into the lineup, on a regular basis. Maybe he comes in for a game or two if somebody's injured or whatever. For him to get a real shot with the NHL team, I think is probably pretty unlikely.
Exactly, I agree with you about that, Devin. Would be interesting what they're going to do, for sure. Chris, welcome back. Trade medicine for the right defenseman, Coley Hudson and Jakai Adedi. Chris, you right at some point, but I think same thing. I think until the first of all, I have to give credit for Ken Hughes, by the way, to realize he maybe make a mistake to trade earlier Kovacevic. And I think that behind that, Devin, the reason they trade Kovacevic is because they were thinking Rebecca or Mayu be ready to join the Montreal Canadiens. And there was the feeling about that. So they said, you know what, we have Savard, we can use Barron, and at the beginning of the season, we can have Goalie on the right side until Rebecca and Mayu can get that progression to helping the Montreal Canadiens to add that right defenseman, and that's the reason they trade Kovacevic. But they realize after a couple of weeks, the Rebecca injury, the regression of Mayu, right? Plafonner, c'est quoi en anglais, plafonner, Devin? Plafonner, like.
Leveled off.
Okay, I don't want to use the word regression about Mayu. Does it make sense? Like, I don't think so. He deserves to have the word regression, but the best way I can use my English with regression about Mayu. But again, that's the reason they trade Kovacevic, where I can understand the point of view about that, where they open a spot for those young kids. That's the same situation with Harris. Harris, they evaluate maybe struggle to have a better way, to have a better spot compared to Jordan Harris. Now they realize, you know what? Maybe does not work. And they said that's a good opportunity to get him, Alexandre Carrier, helping him on track in a little bit a long term. So I think the reason I believe behind the reason happening there. The Flyers tied the game at 2-2. Foster scored 7 goals a year. Again, the Los Angeles Kings are going to follow every game happening until RG Calabro knock the door. We have a few people, Devin, before we consider the conversation about that. Chris Henson, welcome back. Peter, don't take us trouble with ever the right defense. His skating was liability, I believe. Very neat experience Carrier would help. Definitely, Peter, about that. I think a trouble on the left side would be better. Look, Strasbourg have a really great camp. 5-0 Canada. Camp, and then he's struggling after that, after an injury. Never reached his full, he never reached his full comeback, like exactly what was expected at the beginning of the season. But again, I think Strasbourg brings some kind of security if something happened to the left side of Montreal. Again, for me, a defenseman 5-6-7 for Strasbourg is a great position for the Montreal at this moment of the rebuilding team, I believe, for him. Francois Pitt is in the house, followed by Dan Hashem and beautiful Colette. Welcome back, both of you. Hopefully doing well in Winnipeg about that. And then Sean McIntyre. Sean, by the way, Devin, maybe you don't know him, but Sean is directly your neighbor. He's in that area, Nova Scotia, by the way. And Sean does not pop up a lot here, a lot of times. Sean, but when he pop up, he's really knowledgeable about hockey. Like, he bring a lot of great comments, everything. So I want to appreciate you, Sean. I think that's a great way to say that.
Sean.
I think we are going to trade Madison for the second line center. Not a bad idea, Sean. I think for me, the only way it can happen is one, they will, at the end of the year, when they're going to know exactly what it look like, the defensive side. I think that's the way I see that, Sean. But don't be surprised this happened. A great point about this. I don't know, David, you want to add something about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton to add to it. I mean, to me, I think that losing Matheson right now would leave a big hole in the lineup. If just for the amount of time he spends on the ice and the different roles he plays, I'm with you 100% that hopefully Carrier joining the lineup will allow him to reduce his minutes. Will give him a bit of a break from the penalty kill. Am I super keen to get rid of Matheson? No, I think he contributes in a really significant way to this team. I think he's a leader. He's also an Anglophone Montrealer, which I think is an interesting aspect where he does his interviews in both English and French as a veteran on the team. I like that. I think he's a leader in the room. When he's healthy, I think he's a very good player on this team. So I personally don't have an issue with Matheson, and I don't think that they'll be in any rush to get rid of him. However, if the right trade comes along and somebody offers them the right the right return, I wouldn't be devastated to see him move along. Yeah, and that's my take on Matheson. That's again, I know that a lot of people tend to have a negative view of him because he does make glaring mistakes from time to time, and unfortunately people remember the one glaring mistake more than they remember the 10, 12, 15 positive things you do on the ice. But yeah, I wouldn't be devastated if Matheson were to be traded, but again, I don't think that it would be a scenario where they would be sort of actively looking to get rid of him at this point anyway, with the current situation of their defense.
We have a new subscriber, Angie Tristan. Welcome in the house. Thanks for being with our Canadian Live Show. We appreciate that. Johnny Golden, Mr. Tap. Mr. Tap, think about Mr. Tap. If you don't know who is Johnny Golden, do you know who is Johnny Golden? Devin?
I don't know Johnny Golden. No, I know the person that's the new subscriber because he's been on my show in the past as well. So ONG
awesome.
Tristan is
That's
somebody
awesome
that
to
I've
hear
seen
that,
on my
David.
show before.
But let's do special presentation. Johnny Golden back in the house tonight. Johnny is from New Brunswick, by the way. Johnny will be with us for many, many years. He follow us left and right, and then very quiet in the chat, but he pop up sometime here. And it's been a great, great support of the Hockey Nation. So I just want to share. We started that presentation a long time ago. When the price is right within our tap, Devin. That's the way we present Johnny Golden. So hopefully you're doing well, Johnny. We wish you an happy holidays for everybody, for you, for Johnny, and your family. Glad to having you aboard. And we have other people knock the door. Mitch Bellin is in the house. A2, welcome back. And then we have, I see someone else, Francois Pitt. Slicky is in the house tonight. Great point, great comment, Slicky. We're going to see what we got here. Madison is also a turnover machine, a really bad defensively. Again, some players, Devin, you agree with me? Some players, Montreal, have some difficulties and make mistakes, everything like that. Because many of them, but few of them are on the wrong chair. I'll give you Mike Madison in the wrong chair, David Savard on the wrong chair, Alex Newhook is on the wrong chair. Right now, Kubidak, the way he played this year, is maybe on the wrong chair. So it's not easy for them to perform when you are unfortunately on the wrong chair and maybe play more minutes where you should play, and that expose you on front situation what you should not be on the ice as one this happening. So do you feel the same way like I do?
Yeah, I don't know that Matheson's on the wrong chair for this team right now. Matheson, I think, is not going to be your number one or a first pairing defenseman on your team if you want to be a Stanley Cup contender. So, as this team progresses, they're going to have guys that move past him on the depth chart if they're going to be competitive. Would characterize Mike Matheson as a turnover machine? Absolutely not. I think what happens a lot of times is that we get our mind made up about a player and we sort of watch them very closely, and every time they make a mistake, we sort of focus on it. We're doing it with Kirby Dach now. We're doing it with other players. The reality is that Mike Matheson is a very good offensive defenseman, and he's an average defensive defenseman. And he's done a lot for this team. He's played a role that he's probably not completely comfortable with. At the moment, I believe he's playing through an injury, which has affected his play, and he's had some really poor games of late. But if we look at Mike Matheson as a whole, since he joined the Montreal Canadiens, whatever it is, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whatever it is, I think on the whole, his contributions to this team is quite significant. And again, I'm not going to be a Mike Matheson hater. I get that there's problems with his game. I get that he does make mistakes, and sometimes they're big mistakes. But on the whole, I think he's been a very positive influence on this team, both on and off the ice.
I agree with you about that one there. I've been really on the side of Mike Madison most of the time, right? Like I said, just too many minutes he play per game. He's just on the. He's a good fit for the transition Montreal Canadiens, but obviously he's just on the wrong chair with the Montreal Canadiens. I still consider Mike Madison a second pairing in NHL with a good team. It would be a better defenseman like he showed with the Montreal this season. But same with Montreal. But we cannot complaining, guys, for what Montreal. Without him, imagine what Montreal would look like, Devin. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So after the trade, that I have other conversation. It could be the end of David Savard. So for people in the chat and yourself, what do you think about what would be the next for David Savard? Do you see a trade at the trade deadline? Do you see Montreal going to keep him? And do you think after that they're going to resign him or not? So it's one opportunity. So I would like to hear from you. What do you think about the situation about David Savard?
Well, I don't know that it's changed David Savard's situation that much. I think it is an indication that they are prepared to consider moving him. I think they were prepared to consider moving him before this trade. Again, a scenario where if they get the right offer for him, they'll move him at the trade deadline. I think that Kent Hughes is seeing that their market for a veteran right-handed defenseman who has won the Stanley Cup. And has, a ton of experience and is a really dependable defenseman, a guy who can play on your second or third pairing and bring sort of all kinds of stability. I think they're seeing that there will be a market for David Savard. So in that sense, I think that probably played a bit of a role in their reasoning for bringing in Alexandre Carrier. Like, I think that's why that's at least in part why they made this move, because they can afford to lose David Savard a little. I mean, they can more afford to lose now that they have Carrier in the lineup. So again, I'm not sure that they, I think they had in their mind the possibility of trading David Savard all along. But I think this sort of maybe sends a message to us as the fans that they do have that in their head, and there is a possibility, and that if the right move does come along for Savard, that they will definitely they won't be afraid to make that move for sure. Again, you're losing a right-handed defenseman again, which is because we're desperate for right-handed defensemen, but it seems like the ones who make the most sense to trade always turn out to be right-handed defensemen for whatever weird reason. But again, I don't think that I don't think they're in a rush to move Savard, but I think they certainly will try to do so at the trade deadline, assuming they can get the right offer.
Great, exactly. That will be the last point. That's what bring me to tell you, and then we already in the chat. I think a lot of great comments. A201 talk about Savard because he's not ready. Rebecca and Mayu, so security maybe that's a good one. But I think for me, it's when you not when you trade Savard, it's what you get in return. And honestly, if it's not a second round pick, I will not trade Savard. I will keep Savard to the end of the season. After that, Savard loved to play for Montreal Canadiens. His wife loved to stay in Montreal. They want both of them, their kids, go to the school in Montreal. That's the reason he signed with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, on the market, he's going to be 34 years old, 35 years old. I don't know how much money he make, and I don't know how much he has. I don't know what he's thinking, right? I'm not David Savard. I don't know he want to play 5 more years in NHL. I don't know he want to win another Stanley Cup. I don't know his priority is his life. But I think, for me, I see a David Savard want to stay in Montreal, want to get a job after his career with the Montreal Canadiens. He's going to get that for the Montreal Canadiens. They're going to offer that job. And I think for Montreal, they can give him a 1-year contract. He go by year with David Savard. Again, I could be completely wrong out of the track about David Savard, but this is my perception about David Savard. Went easy on his career. He won already a Stanley Cup. and the family want to be in Montreal. And I think at the end of his career, whatever he decide to sign a 2-year contract somewhere else and to stay, you can have a David
Yeah.
Savard at below at $2 million. And you know what? Worst case, I will give him maybe a 2 years contract at 1.5 if you want to do that. Because you can at 1.5 do many things with David Savard in 2 years. As a third pairing, and like exactly A2 said, it will be a transition between him and Rebecca and Mayu and the rest to join the Montreal Canadiens. He's still a good role model for the Montreal Canadiens. And if he accepts to play a role as a sixth defenseman, a healthy scratch, a seventh defenseman, but he be around the Montreal Canadiens, this will be great for the Montreal Canadiens. So for me, what is the value of the trade? And then after that is what he want to be with the Montreal Canadiens. If you put this together, I think a deal 1 year, 1.5, 1 year, $2 million, or a 2 years contract, $1.5 million. I think I resign Savard until we have new players coming with the rookies of the pipeline for the Montreal Canadiens. What do you think?
How about this, coach? That makes a ton of sense, but how about this? How about, let's say they can get a second round pick for him at the trade deadline, goes somewhere else, plays out the rest of the season with the agreement that he can then come back and be a coach in the organization somewhere, like come back to Montreal and be an assistant coach in Laval, or work in some kind of role within the organization, sort of in a Paul Byron kind of role, right? Like that. The other thing I think I don't think you forgot to bring it up, but the other point too is that he's 34 years old. He's won the Stanley Cup. He loves Montreal. He's done. His body also seems to be breaking down a little bit. We're seeing him sort of be taken out of the lineup at the last minute. I think it's happened twice now so far in the last month or so, where we find out about an hour and a half before the game that he can't go. So that to me is an indication that maybe his body's breaking down a little bit, and maybe he's in a scenario where he is prepared to call it quits again. But again, if he wants to stay with the team, like you say, at a reasonable price on a year by year basis, I think that certainly is not a problem there.
Yeah, I think I don't see him to retire yet. I don't see he showed to me he want to be retired. I think he can be what I said earlier, but we'll see. We'll see what the David Sauer want to do. But again, um, it's rare a player go on the trade market, on the traded line, then resign with the same team he was before. This not happen a lot. I think, Lecanet did it. I not remember if he did it or he was traded back to Montreal, but not happen a lot. We'll see with David Savard. But again, the time will tell us. Chris, answer back to for you about Carrier. Thanks, Chris. Welcome back, Nick G. Welcome again. We have a new one also. Forgot his name. Anyway, apologize. Trey Savard resigned in for 2 years. Nick G. Like I said, it's not happened a lot, but that was next for Savard. La présidence Soleil. For you, Savard keep what would fetch coach a third at this point on the rebuild that's available to us. He was the first center. Okay, but the third, I agree with you about that. Mark answer back again, the defenseman. I think they will look at Jake Evans, bottom six, right shooting center. He can provide. We'll be interested. 100% great. A2, thanks so much. Go ahead, David.
Can I address a question in the comments? There's a good question in the comments from N. Rabinov. He asks, might Hughes consider bringing Kuznetsov along with Demidov? They seem to have good chemistry together. And I think it's a great question. I don't think they would do that. I think Kuznetsov, obviously, with the issues that he has off the ice, would run the risk of having a negative impact on the environment and the atmosphere that the Canadians are trying to this team. But it's not a crazy concept. It's not a crazy concept at all. They do appear to have sort of a good sort of big brother, little brother chemistry with Ska. However, I don't know that it's something that that Kent Hughes would consider. I don't know what Kuznetsov's contract situation is in Russia either. I suspect it would be difficult to get him over here. But again, it's a good question. I don't see them doing it.
Yeah, a lot of comments in the chat. Great, everybody, to talk about this. AK, welcome back. Thanks to be with us, AK. Hopefully, you're doing well. AK, we have a couple of games on right now. And the Boston Bruins lead 1-0. Elias Lindholm scores fifth of the season, suite par Marchand. Not a good news for the Oilers when he gave the first goal of the game right away. You're absolutely right about this. I think William Carrier would fit very well with Montreal Canadiens. I feel like his energy on the ice and the fact David he want to play with the Montreal Canadiens will affect his play with Montreal. So I'm very happy about that trade. By the way, Pizza is back in the house. Welcome back. How much hockey think is still as and him, Mark? I agree with you. And of course, Demidov asked the question, and well, David answered back. Might use consider, like you said, Kuznetsov. Some to have a good chemistry together. Yes, you're right about that. Did the Capitals buy out Kuznetsov? No, they tried to Carolina Hurricane. Did Carolina buy out Kuznetsov? They buy him out?
Yeah, I don't know what his contract situation is. I'm really not sure.
I think it is. I think they buy him out at the end of the year for Kuznetsov. Maybe it was UF3. But I think for me, I think it's a good point, right? Good question. I watch him play every game. He had a good game yesterday. He had what, 3 points, I believe, 3-4 points yesterday. He was dominant yesterday, maybe because Kenyon was sit up upstairs, but at the end, Kuznetsov, his effort on the ice and KHL is not always there. And I think for me, I prefer to have younger players inside Montreal Canadiens at Kuznetsov. So that would be my point of view about that for sure. Nicolas de Gobi Bono, welcome back. Dan Ouellet, 2 years, 2.2. Not a bad deal about that. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. David Savard should retire, and Montreal should offer him a job and organization. That will be look like in the future for that one over there. Ronnie, welcome back in the house. Hopefully you're doing well and Quebec City. And so that's happening right there in the chat. So David Savard, the end, we just talk about this. I want to talk about the World Junior Championship, if you don't mind. Well, before that, we're going to jumping on this one. Before that, even Demidov, I apologize. I put an 8 goal, but it's 7 goal. I apologize for that one. I'm going to fix this right now. Play 9 minutes and 47 with the team SK. First of all, play again Bogdan Kushnikov today. The team Torpedo take the lead 3-0. The head coach Igor Larionov in front of Ken Hughes, Vincent Le Cavalier, and Pobrov. He was all there to watching Evan Demidov play 4 minutes, play 3 minutes, and finally play only 2 minutes at the third period. He was benched by the coach. And then, but he found a way to put a puck in the net and to score that goal for the team SKA. A great wrist shot. You're going to see that play over there. Then you get the puck right there in front of the net. Top shell, ball down, we're going to call it that way, to be the goaltender. And that goal was the 5th of the game. That goal became the game-winning goal of the Demidov played only 2 minutes and 7 seconds, I believe, during the third period. It gave the W for the team SK. Beat Bogdan Kushnikov and the Torpedo by the score 6-4. And Bogdan played over 23 minutes yesterday, 0 point. But look, it's fun to see Demidov do this. And they say, you know what? Whatever they gave me, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, I'm going to give my best. And he showed it again. Another great shot of the Demidov. Again, great save, great pass by Kuznetsov on him. And that will give, again, his 7th goal of the year and 35 games this year with the team SK. So I know we talk each other about the game at some point. How you feel about Demidov yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton to say about this. For a couple things for the chat, guys, if you get the opportunity, watch that video that Coach just posted. Go and see if you can find it on the internet, and watch Demidov, because he starts along the boards and he makes his way to the center of the ice. Just watch his edge work and watch his skin while he does that. Like, it's just like it's amazing and spectacular to watch. is really, really, really something to watch. His skating is really special. Also, there's a video going around of Kent Hughes, Vincent Lecavalier, and Nick Bobrov um, basically getting a tour of the Ska Arena from Roman Rottenberg. I posted a 30-second clip of it on my Blue Sky account if you want to check it out there. But there is a longer video. I can only post up to 30 seconds on Blue Sky. Really, really cool. In a really cool video, you get to see the interaction between Rottenberg and the Canadiens management, and they also talk about Demidov for a part of the video. It's about a 7.5 minute long video, so check that out if you get a chance, guys. It's really informative, and you'll some stuff about what's going on. As far as his performance today, again, it's I think it's a question of his ice time and how he's being used and how he's being developed, and obviously there's disappointment about that. But what continues to amaze me is the degree to which he can make things happen on the ice, even when he's getting that minimal ice time. Like, he can sit on the bench for 5 or 6 or 7 minutes and then step on the ice and make something happen. There was another shift in the second period where he stepped on the ice, got the puck right away, and you'll remember this, Coach. He got the puck right away, and he was able to create a really good scoring chance for himself, where he kind of cut through the middle and was able to get a shot from the high slot. I don't know if it was actually counted as a shot on goal. I don't think it was, because he only was accredited with one shot on goal. But his ability to just sort of make things happen, even when he's cold and not into the game, is really quite special. Konyushkov today, I mean, he was solid defense. I don't think he stood out. I didn't really notice him greatly, but again, like as you say, he played I think 23 minutes or something like that. He's obviously a top pairing defenseman for Torpedo. He looked good, and it was really it was a good game for him too. But again, Demidov, you're sort of it's a bittersweet situation where you see how good he is, and you see his potential, and you just wish you could watch him play 15, 16, 17 minutes in a game and see what he'd be capable of if he was getting a regular shift and getting an opportunity to go out there on a regular basis.
Yeah, great point about that, Devin, about Demidov. Good. They gave him 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever they gave to him, right? He just played. The last game, prior to that game last night or this morning, he played over 10 minutes for the first time the last 9 games. So the last 10 games, he have only one game over 10 minutes. And I don't see him about the point when I watch him. I want to see him, what he look like on the ice. But this guy, is really fast. Skating is quick, good. And if he have better opportunities with the team SK, I think he will provide more points for the team. But Roddenberry, the GM, the head coach, the vice president, the president, he run the program for all the top. The good thing about this, I'll say to you, I'm glad they have a good conversation with the Montreal Canadiens, and they was really happy to see Montreal a part of to visit them. So it turned around. Unfortunately, a lot of media, I don't want to go that direction, Devin. I don't want to have any comments about that, but you have a lot of controversy in the newspaper and on the website about they wrote a couple of things about the Montreal Canadiens should not be in Russia during the time of the war between Ukraine and Russia. So again, I don't want to go deep, but I don't think so. It was appropriate to write those kind of articles from the different reporter. It's not coming from the hockey world. It's more coming from the outside the hockey world. But again, politically, politics and hockey does not fit together. So again, I'm not going to get there. That's the reason I just want to put the door about that. But that's it. That's all. So thanks so much to be a part of the show tonight. And we're going to give you all the update about Ivan Demidov the next couple of days. Demidov again scored a goal today for the team SK, the SK team. I think this complete the trip because the holidays, honestly, it's coming. So I think you can use a Bobrov and Lecavalier return in North America after the game. I want to talk a little bit, guys. Open the door. the World Junior Championship is start after Christmas, right? And right now, we see Canada lead 7-1, like A2 said, against the team Swiss. And every year, I think for me, this is the best time to watching hockey, and this is the best hockey you can get at the World Junior Championship every single year at the event. And I want to sharing with everybody in the chat, if you don't mind, what it looked like this year. Not the Team Canada, but more about the World Championship. Who you should watch, who you should looking. First of all, guys, you have to take a note here for the World Championship. Montreal Canadiens for the first time have only one players on the pipeline. Ramis Bervis played with the team Sweden. He's not going to be on the first line like Angstrom before that, so he's going to be not, if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, so, oh, we have only Bervis, yes. A little bit strange. Why? Because many of them play, junior and all age out. And, maybe the only one could be there, but not only one, but one of them could be there. It was a Cuivo and Michael Edge. Michael Edge, unfortunately, was out of Team Canada because he did not play with and Canadian Hockey League Junior. Decided to go in the USHL. And then Cuivo didn't make it because he was sick for a couple of weeks with the team Finland. Oh, whatever. The player we have to watch, honestly, Devin, is the player are not drafted in NHL. So there are a few of them. Kevin McKenna, 2026, considered to be the first overall pick, play with the Team Canada. You know what McKenna is, honestly. And he's going to be with Team Canada. James Higgins, Team USA, 2025, considered the first overall pick. Paul Martin, the top 5 in the NHL draft. Matthew Sheffer, Team Canada 2, top 5. Victor Ekblom for the Team Sweden. Ekblom is going to be considered a top 10, I believe, for the upcoming NHL draft. And then, don't forget, guys, Adam Novotny, 2026. Novotny considered to be a top 5. Who is Novotny? Play with the Team Czechia. Watch him as another young player. Not easy to play at that tournament at a young age, but they are the best of the NHL draft upcoming, Devin, for Team Canada, Team USA, or any other team. And I want to finish this, guys, with that one for who has been drafted already and they play. And you get a better longest. Beyond Minnesota, Captain Seattle, Dickinson San Jose, Leonard Washington, Perrault Rangers. A lot of people talk, David, about what they trade Capo yesterday, whatever it is. It's because they want to open a door for Perrault next season. Gabe Perrault should be with the New York Rangers when you go to finish his career with NCAA. They have a couple of forward like Altman too. Team Canada win by the score 7-1, confirmed right now. Axel Sandin Pelika, Detroit, Kalinius, Buffalo, Richie, Colorado, Cole Ezerman, Islanders, Devoski, St. Louis, Punk, Flyers, Connelly, Vegas, Renkoff, Seattle, Ekstrom, Nashville, Monenty, Nashville, Wellender, Vancouver, Lichtenko, Flyers, Chirichek, St. Louis, Cowan, Toronto. When you get all that list, you can see the Flyers have 2 players there. The Nashville, I believe they have 2 of them too. A couple of teams, they have 2. Washington, I believe. No. St. Louis Blues have
Seattle.
2.
Seattle.
Yeah. So, those teams have a couple of players join and the different countries, honestly. But the other players be drafted last year or 2 years ago, and they are in the NHL at the World Junior Championship. Point behind that, everybody, is to be sure, not because Montreal have only one player, you don't have to watch this. You have a possible player going to be drafted by Montreal and also the play already in NHL. So for me, it's not about only them. I just love the concept of the World Junior Championship. This year is in Ottawa, by the way. So I think it'll be a great way to watch it. The game will be normally the night for the Team Canada, right? And it's going to be a great competition. Of course, without the Russia, it's not always not the same anymore. And Team USA have a solid team, honestly. I think they are the favorite team to win that cup, that World Junior Championship 2025. So David, I apologize. I talk a lot. I gave a lot of comments, but I would like to hear from you. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it's your show, Coach. But no, I'm happy to comment. I agree. I mean, the 5 draft-eligible guys will be interesting. Canada doesn't typically bring draft-eligible guys to this tournament, except for sort of the real superstars. So I think it will be interesting. Gavin McKenna, especially, I'm interested to see. As far as this list of the already drafted players, I mean, Easton Cowan interests me. I'm interested to see if Easton Cowan can do better than his Toronto teammate Fraser Minton did last year. He came in with a lot of hype last year and was terrible at the World Junior, arguably the worst player on the team. So I'm also really interested in seeing Berkeley Catton. Berkeley Catton was a guy who, leading up to the draft last year, I was really interested in seeing the
Was my
Canadiens
pick,
maybe
by the
have a
way.
look at.
It was my pick. Like me, like
Oh,
I
was it?
do
Yeah.
always with Michael Maison. For me, Captain was right. It was always been my pick in Montreal select 7 or 8.
Yeah, and I was, for me, it was either Berkeley Catton or Beckett Seneca. Again, very happy that they got Demidov. I'm not, I'm not sort of, dealing with that, but yeah, no, I'm interested to see Berkeley Catton because, to me, the only reason Berkeley Catton didn't the top 5 was because of his size. I think if he were 2 inches taller, he certainly would have higher. And, Caden Lindstrom was getting all that attention. And I mean, to me, Berkeley Catton is a significantly better hockey player. So I'm interested to see what he's capable of. But yeah, those are the 2 main guys. Jet Luchenko kind of intrigues me a little bit too. I'm interested to see him, but again, it's mostly Berkeley Catton. And again, I'm wondering to see if Easton Cowan can actually, turn all of this hype into something. We've been hearing about him for so long. But again, last year we heard a lot about Fraser Minton coming into the tournament as well, and he just really wasn't that good. So hopefully for Toronto's sake, that Easton Cowan can do a little bit better this year. Cole Eiserman again too. He's an intriguing guy because as he started the season last year as a top 2 or 3 ranked draft pick, slid to I think 19 or 20. I think he ended up going in the low 20s, perhaps.
It was right
20.
there before that at 20.
Yeah. So again, it's just interesting to see, if all of the sort of debate that was going on about him and the reasons why he slid to 20 spots in the draft, whether that's it was a real thing or whether he's actually going to be a star. Is he going to be a Kiefer Bellows, or is he going to be a Cole Caulfield? Like that's sort of what we're hearing. Some people say he's a goal scorer on the level of the top US NDTP goal scorers, and others are saying he's going to be a bust. So it'll be interesting to see all those guys.
But the Flame score a goal. 1-0 against the Senator. Coleman scored goal, 7 of the year. Good to hear that. I for the Flame. No chance that Flowers 3-3 against the Predator 3-3 at the winner. So that's what we got here, Mr. Devin. Let's see what we got other location.
Yeah, the other thing I forgot to say, Coach. I mean, for me, the World Juniors is the best hockey of the year as well. I mean, I can go back to being 4 years old and waking up in the morning and on Boxing Day and sitting down in front of the TV to watch the game. And like you say, it's it's nice to have the tournament in Ottawa where the games are all on during prime time. But it's also kind of cool as a kid to to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watch the games from Czech Republic or Russia or Finland and whatever. And I don't think there's we've had the World Juniors here in Halifax twice in recent years. I was able to go to multiple games during both of those tournaments. It's a really, really fun time to be at a tournament live. Highly recommended if you get the chance. It's just it's a great time. So the World Juniors to me is just a really fun time. And I love it. I love it just like you do, Coach. I think it's some of the best hockey of the year.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The linesman out hurt. the game between Boston and the Calgary Flames. Anyhow,
Edmonton.
yeah. I will see them at the age. You're absolutely right. You should be excited about that. Look, we know Montreal played 2 games back to back. Again, the Detroit Red Wings tomorrow and Saturday. And, Carrier should be in the lineup tomorrow night. And Montembeault should be on the first game. So I want to hear a little bit more for the people in the chat. What is your expectation? What are you looking for the Montreal Canadiens? Montreal need at least to win one of the game, or at least to get 2 points. Again, the Detroit Red Wings wins. I believe Detroit won yesterday. So what do you feel about that?
What do I feel? What am I looking for from the Canadians in on Friday and Saturday?
Again, the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are important games for Montreal, right? Like we talk about, the teams that they're in competition with to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think the Canadians have a really good chance of making the playoffs, but if they are going to become a playoff team, whether it's this year, next year, or whatever, it's teams like Detroit, it's teams like Buffalo, it's teams like Ottawa, it's like Pittsburgh that they're going to have to beat. And we were, you and I and Enertap and Marco were on the air, I don't know, a little over a week ago, talking about Pittsburgh being a team that they will have to surpass if they're going to make the playoffs, and how it was really important for them to to have a good game against Pittsburgh. I guess it was a week ago Saturday, and it didn't happen. Or no, it wasn't Saturday. It was a weekday game. In any event, you know what game I'm talking about. We thought it was an important game, and that they would have to show well against a team that's sort of in their same at their same level, and they went out and completely laid an egg. The other night, Buffalo, right, another team that they have to compete with if they're going to get into the Eastern Conference playoff picture, whether again this year, next year, or otherwise. Buffalo is a team that they're going to have to beat, and they were able to do that. So I think the same scenario presents itself with Detroit, and they get the opportunity to have back-to-back games. So, I think if they play the way they're capable of, I think that Detroit is a team that they should beat. But again, this is a team that doesn't always play the way they're capable of, and if they don't play up to their capabilities, then I think Detroit will surprise for them. So it'll be interesting to see from a number of perspectives. One, whether or not they can compete with Detroit, and two, whether or not they can carry the momentum from the Buffalo game into the weekend with Detroit. And continue that that upward rise. I mean, I don't think that they're out of the woods and that they're going to be a great team going forward. I think there's going to be steps forward and steps backward, but hopefully the steps forward will begin to be greater than the steps backward as the season progresses. So I think they have an opportunity to do that this weekend, and it'll be a test for them to do that. And you've pointed out, I think the games between now and New Year's are sort of important games for this team, because the schedule gets a little bit tougher after that, and these are big games against Eastern Conference opponents. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I tried to answer one question for Iamo. If you don't mind, let me about 1 second.
It's okay.
I just like to keep
No, I can keep talking.
And the chat. No,
Yeah,
I just want to give you. I just want to share in the 3 pairing defensemen for Montreal: Madison, Hudson, Goalie, Carrier, and Jacques Savard, Yamo. That'll be my expectation for that. And Blue Jacket win tonight again. The Devils by the score 4-2, by the way. And the Boston Bruins scored a second goal of the game at 2-0. And Kastelik, great pick for the Ottawa Senator, Kastelik.
Can I comment on that too, about the pairings? I mean, I think you're bang on. I think those are the pairings that we're likely to see. Personally, I would like to see Goalie and Hudson together. I'm not a big fan of the Matheson-Hudson pairing. It hasn't worked in my view. I mean, it's been okay, but I've seen from Goalie and Hudson and the rare occasions they've played together, it's looked a lot better to me. So I would be, again, you can call one first pairing and the other the second pairing. I think they would both be pretty even. But again, if Matheson, Carrier, and Goalie, Hudson would be my preference. I'm not sure I'm going to see that, but I think that would be to me a better pairings, or a better group of pairings.
Yeah, I agree with you about that.
I don't know if you agree
Madison,
or not.
Elson is not the same. I think to have two players with more like a skill for carrying the puck, I think they should split on them. But I think they want to protect Coley, not put him on the right side. I believe that would be that's one thing I expect. That's what I'm thinking about. That we'll see how they're going to turn around that one over there. So for me, the game for Montreal, like I said, they need to at least split. The reason Montembeault start tomorrow, I believe, because it's a 3-game and 4-night. Remember, they play Monday against Columbus at home at Columbus, right? So they want to use Montembeault 2 times. I'll be shocked if returning Montembeault. At least Detroit have less of 20 shots and Montreal win, example, 4-1. I expect Primo come back Saturday at home and then Monday. I think that's the reason they use. Honestly, you always try to get your first goalie on the first game and give the second backup on the bad game, on the second game. But it's a big game for Primo. Honestly, that's what I'm looking for, is to see how Primo is going to respond. And that's going to be easy for him. Second game at home. It's not going to be easy. Second thing I will say to you, I want to see Alexandre Carrier, what he look like. For sure, it'll be fun to watching him. Thirdly, look like Sakoski back on the first line. This is the time of the year last year he can start to be transformed. They have 2 points last game, 1 goal, 1 assist. I want him to build on that sequence for him. And the second line, 5 versus 5. We need to step up against the Detroit Red Wings, a team Montreal can beat. And they win the last game. They're only a bit in front of Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal want to be in the mix of the team like Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa, and Columbus, Flyers on the Metropolitan Division. This is a great time for them to show what they are. I said last Thursday, the next 11 games of Montreal Canadiens are the crucial schedule for the Montreal. Why? Because after 11 games, you're beginning the beginning of the 2025, the second week of the month of the January, and you go to see what Montreal is. And if you are not, play for 500 on the trip or 11 on the 11 game, at least 5 win or 6 win, Montreal is going to be really really bad after that, because the schedule is getting worse and worse or harder for the Montreal Canadiens after Christmas. So we'll see what they look like again. Detroit Red Wings. They lost the 2 first games. The Pittsburgh I was a little bit surprised, but we know Pittsburgh have with the Montreal this year. Winnipeg, no surprise. Now they beat very well Buffalo. It'll be great. Montreal win both games against the Detroit Red Wings, but we have to wait until we see the result of that. Thanks for being part of the show, everybody. Roy is in the house. Roy said, are you sure they want Primo play at home? They used to shut him from playing at home due to his nerve. But Roy is first of all, Roy, welcome back. Secondly, we said to you, Roy, his number last year, Devin, it was excellent on the road and really bad at home. But the reason they play him remote, if they use him Saturday, Roy, is just because they have no choice. It's 3 games and 4 nights, and they want to use Montembeault 2 times. So they want to give an extra day off, I believe, Saturday, to be ready Monday. That's one my only explanation. I don't know if you think differently, Devin.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point, and I think a lot of people in the media are making a big deal out of the fact that the Canadiens have not announced, or Martin St. Louis has not announced, that Primo will be playing on Saturday. Typically, in a back-to-back or in a back-to-back scenario, he'll say, one of the goalies is playing in the first of the back-to-back, and the other will play otherwise. But again, you bring up, again, the point that some of the people in the media are making, that maybe it's possible that Montembeault will play both games against Detroit. But, as you point out, Coach, it's one thing for him to play, back-to-back games on Friday and Saturday. It's another thing for him to play back-to-back games on Friday, Saturday, and then follow it up with a game on Monday. Now, I guess the other option would be maybe Montembeault plays on Friday and Saturday, and then Primo plays on Monday. Is that a possibility? Yeah, I guess so. But again, I guess there might be something to the fact that Martin St. Louis has not come out publicly and said that that Primo will be playing on Saturday. But again, I don't think it's a case where we would expect that Montembeault will play 3 games in 4 nights. I don't think that's a possibility. It's not a matter, Roy. Sorry, it's not a matter of him being in poor shape. It's just not something that's done in the NHL anymore. The physical wear and tear involved with being a goalie in today's NHL is just so much that goaltenders don't play as many games as they used to, and it would be extraordinarily rare in today's NHL for a goalie to play 3 games in 4 nights. It probably is not super rare for a goalie to play back-to-back, but it's all not very common. I don't think it's a conditioning situation. I think it's just a realization that it's a pretty heavy physical burden to goalie to play at that level in today's NHL. It's just a thing, though. And again, it's also an issue of where are you at the end of the season if you are playing more than 60 games a season as a goaltender. That's just not something that these guys are capable of taking on. And again, we can say that I'm an old man now too, so I can say oh, they're not as tough as they used to be back in my day, but it's just not. I don't think that that's really the case. It's a matter of the position is far more physically challenging now than it was back in the day, and teams are realizing that in order to get the most out of the position, they have to do certain things and give a bigger role to their backup.
Yeah, great point about that. I think that the new, the NHL is that way, right? Like how many goalies you see back-to-back game now is really rare. If you use Montembeault Friday and Saturday, but you cannot use him Monday too. You know what I mean? So at some point you need to give one night off, and it would be better to play on the back-to-back night off the second game, and then you come back about that. You don't see that, Roy, goalie anymore. The time of Price is over. The time of Vasilevsky is over. And Alibak, you can see how many back-to-back Alibak has this year. It's not happening anymore. It's just like, yes, Alibak is a special phenomenon, but how many back-to-back Adam Hill? How many game Samsonov? How many game back-to-back Zorokin? How many game have Zoraus? How many game back-to-back Proboski? How many game back-to-back?
Yeah, and we're seeing,
you know what I mean? Like,
and I think we're also seeing. Well, I think we're also seeing goaltenders who, played very well in a shared role as a goaltender, struggling a little bit when they do get given the starting role. Like we're seeing Swayman struggle a little bit. We saw Ullmark struggle at the beginning of the season, although he appears to have turned things around a little bit in Ottawa. Right. So, going from a guy who's playing, 40, 45 games a year to even a guy who's playing 60, we're seeing that difference is there. I mean, at the end of the day, the issue is that, teams have determined that it's more efficient for them. It gives them a better opportunity to win games, whether it's in the regular season or in the playoffs, if their goaltenders share the duties more evenly than in past years. And again, when I say evenly, I don't mean that they look to have a 50-50 share, because I don't think you can afford to have 2 starting goalies on a team from a salary point of view. But as far as sharing the workload goes, I think I think teams have determined whether it's from a physical, scientific point of view or just from a wins and losses point of view. I think they've determined that it makes sense to give your backup more games than back in, as Coach points out, in the days of Vasilevsky and I mean, if you go back further back in the day, you had goalies that were playing 70 70 plus games a year, and those days are certainly long gone.
Well said. I agree with you about that. The clash is the time now to put you on the clash. You're going to compete with me, but honestly, want to know if you're going to go absolutely or not allowed. I have a couple of questions for you. So for the people in the chat, thanks
All right.
for everybody to be with us tonight. Don't forget the party, the Christmas party of the Hockey Nation, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Join us live. We're going to open the mic and the camera for many people during that night. We're going to be joined with many other co-hosts with me on that evening. First of all, do you believe Patrick Laney is going to have the most goals for the Montreal Canadiens at the end of the season? Absolutely or not allowed?
Wow. Well, I think it's going to be a battle between him and Cole Caulfield, obviously. Cole Caulfield's goal scoring has kind of cooled off the last couple of weeks. What do they think? He's got 17 now? Is that
Yep.
18?
17.
And Laine's got six in 7 games.
Yep.
That's a tough call. It's a tough call. I am going to say, geez. I'm going to say not at all, but I think it's going to be very close between him and Caulfield for the team lead.
Yeah. I think I agree also with AK and Roy about that. Not allowed. It will be, I think if you reach 25 goals, Patrick Laney will be good. The problem right now is you cannot score on 5 versus 5. You cannot go score 25 goals, 30 goals, 35 goals at power play, right? So I will go with that. Not allowed. Great comments. The next one, do you think the Montreal get more points than Anaheim at the end of the year?
Absolutely. Yeah. I do. I think that the team is on an upward. I've talked about this before. I think the team is on an upward an upward trend. At this point they haven't played their best hockey, and they're, sort of level with Anaheim as it is. I think they're a little bit ahead of Anaheim. Am I right on that? Right now, points wise?
Yeah, it's about approximately 1 point difference, honestly.
Yeah. And I think Montreal's best hockey, I think, is still ahead of them this year. Anaheim, I think, is playing at a level where you would expect them. They're still a year or two behind the Canadiens as far as their rebuild is concerned. So, assuming that the Canadiens can remain healthy, knock on wood, I think that I would expect them to, honestly, I think that I would expect them to finish with significantly more points than Anaheim. I would see them being, 10 or more points ahead of Anaheim by the end of the year.
Yeah, you have to consider the trade deadline, right? And how you can see the trade deadline, and that would be maybe something to watch for at the trade line to see who Montreal is going to losing and what Anaheim is going to losing. That's my only concern for Montreal. If they decide to trade Savard, Evans, Armia, they will rack that 4th spot out of the Montreal Canadiens. I don't see Anaheim losing maybe Gibson. So I think if this is the case, Montreal could have less point of Anaheim at the end of the year. That's the only thing I would say to you. Not allowed on that one. That's only my concern. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Honestly, to me, the people I see the potential of them losing at the deadline, Savard is the main one. I don't know that it's a guy that they can't replace. I won't say easily, but I don't think it's a guy that they can't. If a guy like Jake Evans goes away at the trade deadline, yeah, maybe that's a bit of a different story. But realistically, I don't see anybody likely to move at the trade deadline that will really hamstring the, like, for example, if Savard were to leave, then I think they could bring Jaden Struble into the lineup. Maybe Mayu is playing better and is able to come into the lineup. And I don't think that they take a significant step backwards at that stage. So again, Evans leaving at the trade deadline may be a bit of a different story. I certainly hope that doesn't happen. I hope you sign him. But yeah, I'm going to stick with your point is a good one, but I'm going to still say absolutely they will be ahead of Anaheim at the end of the year.
Now the next one. Do you trade Lane Hudson for Rasmus Dahlin?
Not at all. Not even thinking about that for half a second. Not even, no. And it's, it's got nothing to do with Dahlin. It's because and we talked about it the other day. I seriously view Hudson's, ceiling to be almost unlimited. It's not because, he's come into the league with obviously high expectations, and not only has he met those expectations, he's exceeded them. We continuously talk about how, young players have to go through a period of transition, especially defensemen, before they can be good in the NHL. Hudson, for whatever reason, seems to have overcome that. Again, it's early and things can happen, but to date, he certainly has bucked that trend. He's been good from the beginning. He continues to get better. He just doesn't appear to be subject to a lot of these sort of cliches that we talk about when it comes to defensemen in the NHL. Everyone said he was going to be too small. Well, he's not. He's able to make up for his size in other ways. And for me, it's not, whether I think that Hudson and Dahlin are on an equal level right now. It's what I think that Hudson is capable of becoming. And again, people can call me a Montreal homer all they want, and they can say that I'm, doing whatever. But again, this kid has come to Montreal. He has gotten better every single day since he joined the Montreal Canadiens. He's been, he's been special. And, I think the Canadiens have a special player. And I think that when, everything's said and done about Lane Hudson, we're going to look back on him and say that he was a pretty special player historically in the NHL.
It's not easy. It's, you can go your direction while you talk about Hudson, right? And someone can say to me, like, Dahlin, look what he does. A first round pick, but look, he bring on the Buffalo Sabres and what he can bring on the playoff. That reminds me to compare Quinn Hughes for the Vancouver Canucks. It's Charlie McAvoy, in my opinion. So Hughes going to have more points at McAvoy every year. Lane Hudson is going to have more points at Rasmus Dahlin every year. No doubt in my mind. But when the playoffs start, do you think Dahlin have better playoff possibilities, or Charlie McCoy have better playoff compared to Quinn Hughes? And Rasmus Dahlin, it would be more important for the Montreal as a playoff guy, or with the Buffalo Sabres versus Lane Hudson? This is where you have to consider that question, in my opinion. And for me, that's what Dahlin is better for me compared to Lane Hudson. Whatever Lane Hudson is going to do, and Lane Hudson is going to struggling in the playoff time. And that would be, it's just a part of what it is. If you look about all the 5'10" players below, right, or 5'11", 5'10", right, the where is rare is Kel McCall 5'11", but everybody at 5'10" defensemen at the playoff. And you can say Quinn Hughes last year, but look how he was really hit really badly on defensive zone coverage. Like, he was not the same Quinn Hughes on the season. So
I agree with that.
That's the reason I would take Dahlin over. He's more bigger, stronger, and give you better chance on the playoff sales.
Let me just respond quickly to that. I agree with that completely, but here's what I want to say about this, about both Quinn Hughes and Lane Hudson. So the test for Quinn Hughes will be, how is he in the playoffs this year? Did he learn from last year? Did he learn from the fact that he, struggled physically in the playoff playing against bigger, stronger guys? Or is he unable to adapt to that? Is he unable to change that? Is he unable to change his game in a way that allows him to be effective in the playoffs? I think he will. I think you'll see that because he's a hockey player. I certainly, what I've seen from Hudson, again, it's a short sample size, but what I've seen from Hudson is he's a guy who every time he faces a hurdle, he faces a setback, he faces a problem, he finds a way to overcome it. So do I think it's possible that, Edmonton might struggle at some point in the playoffs? Yes, I think that's possible. But I also think it's very likely that if he does struggle, whether it's the entire playoff series or even at some point while he's playing in the playoffs, what I've seen from him so far is a kid who takes the problem, figures out how to fix it, right? He's not a guy who's going to be like, okay, well, I'm small and I'm going to struggle in the playoffs, I just have to live with that. He's going to figure out a way to be effective in the playoffs because, we've already seen people doubt him because of his size and say, well, he's just not going to stand up in the playoffs. Well, he's developed strategies and skills to overcome that. And, if it does turn out that he can't perform in the playoffs or that he struggles initially in the playoffs, I think he'll find a way to fix it. And I think he'll be substantially better than Dahlin by the end of his career.
Yeah, again, nothing against Lane Hudson, by the way. Not at all. Not at all. But number the point, I think Lane Hudson. But I think that one will be the playoff. I take advantage for Dallin because of the size of Dallin. We'll see. Anyway, next one. If Montreal decide or if he show Kirby Dak as a third center, do you keep him or not? Absolute or not at all?
Wow. Okay. Just so you guys all know in the comments, Coach doesn't send me these questions beforehand, so you're hearing my off the cuff thoughts. So we don't prepare this stuff ahead of time. Again, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just letting you know. My answer to this is not at all. To me, Kirby Dach is not a third line player. If he were to become a third line player in the NHL, I think he would have to change his game substantially. Obviously, first of all, the big issue would be that he would have to improve his faceoffs. I mean, can you justify a second line center who's not that great at faceoffs, who's a 45% faceoff guy, but, brings you a ton of production, who's getting you, 70, 60, 65, 70, 75 points a year? Yes. Can you justify a third line center who you want to play, somewhat of a defensive role? I mean, a two-way role. Can you justify having a guy who's going to be a 40, 45% face-off guy in that role? I don't think so. To me, Kirby Dach doesn't bring, at least in his current, the way he is currently, doesn't bring a skill set that to me indicates that he would be a bottom six forward in the NHL. To me, for him to be successful, he needs to be in a top six, which obviously means he needs to be producing. I don't see him playing. It's the same as, guys like, Sean Farrell and Philippe Majar, right? In the AHL. Like, to me, if they're going to make the NHL, if they're going to play for the Canadiens, they need to be top six players. They're not going to play bottom six players because they don't have, bottom six skill sets. So for me, Kirby Dach isn't a bottom six player. Could he do sort of a Josh Anderson transformation of his game and maybe put himself in that conversation? Potentially. I think that's possible, but for right now, I don't see Kirby Dach, playing in that kind of role. So if he's not going to be, on the second line or the first line for the Canadiens, I don't see him having, especially, at, the amount of money I don't know how much money he's going to want, but I just don't see him in that role. I don't think he has the skill set to be a third line center right now.
Great point about that, Devin. You nailed it about this. Mark also. And 26 about Dallin, you're right. Of course, the APN, LDP was said about Dallin. Anyway, Sakaski, do you believe he's going to reach 47 points this season?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's on pace for right around that now, I would say. Again, much like the team, he's not playing his best hockey. He hasn't played his best hockey. He's struggling. I think he has struggled. I think that, as he gets to play on that first line on a regular basis, I think we'll see his game return. We'll see him sort of, have a second half, compared to, similar to last year where he had, a much better second half. I mean, again, I think he's on pace right now for 49 points, if I'm not mistaken. I think he substantially beats that. I think we'll see him start to put up points and start to score goals on a more regular basis as the season progresses. I think that's a no-brainer. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah. 6-point power play, 11 point of 5 versus 5. They have 50 games to go. So to get there in the next 50 game, he has to take 28 point.
Yeah. Easy.
No, 31 point. 36 point. I don't know anymore. Cannot count anymore. 30 point. Exactly 30 point and 50 game. He get 50 point last year, 20 goals, 30 assists. That'd be close. That'd be close. Right now, I would say to you, not allowed. But because the way he play, I'm a little bit concerned right now, David. Does it make sense? Like, I don't see that. I don't see that right now. Well, the time will tell us, but he need to step up. Here we go. Last one. The Calgary Flames finish at the bottom 10.
That's the hardest one so far. Wow. Flames bottom 10 in the entire league. I'm going to say not at all, because I think at this point, the Flames are not a fluke. Obviously they've come down to earth a little bit from where they were at the beginning of the season, but I think the fact that they continue to play well, obviously they're not playing as well as they were. It's not a fluke anymore. It's, this is a team that, they've got good players. They're playing well together. Dustin Wolf appears to be the real thing. Kadri's playing well. Uyghur's playing well. They've got, Coronado, they've got good young players. They've got, a good veteran core. Huberdeau is still, I guess, could be better, I suppose. No, I'm going to say not at all. I think they finish outside of the bottom 10. I don't know about making the playoffs or anything like that. But again, I think they're, I don't think we can say after 31 or 32 games now, I don't think we can say that they're a fluke anymore. They're more than that. There's something there. There's something real about them. And I think that they'll, again, anything can happen. They could have an injury or two to some key players, which, hopefully that doesn't happen, knock on wood. But yeah, I don't see them being in that bottom 10 group.
All right. Not allowed, Devin, about that one. That was a clash for the night. A great clash between you and me and the people in the chat. A lot of people was agree, some was disagree. And I want to bring you here, if you don't mind, Devin, before we shut down here. Now, it'll be very interesting about that. Talk about the Calgary Flame, Devin. And I like to do the Kings guys 7-3 against the Flyers, by the way. 7-3, 5 goals unanswered. So I wish Randy Walkman would be here. Here we go. Devin, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Calgary Flame are 563 winning percentage. They are 15 in NHL. They have 36 points and 32 games. They are out of the playoff of the Western Conference by 1 to 2 points. It's not the end of the world. They have 10 teams, right, under 500 in NHL. They have 4 teams at 500. So the 14, they have 14 teams right now with below 500 or less. 500 or less. They have the target is 84 points. 4 of the 4 teams are 500 are St. Louis, Rangers, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. The target, to be sure they don't make the bottom 10, is 84 points. They need 48 points in the last 50 games on the schedule to reach 84 points. Now, they have 23 games at home, 27 on the road. Team not in the playoff, they still have 25 games of the 50. So they have half of the game play against the team are not in the playoff. 13 at home, 12 are on the road. Team in the playoff, 25 game, 10 at home and 15 on the road. The bottom five game, the bottom five team in NHL right now, I'm talking about Montreal, San Jose, Chicago, and Nashville, I believe. They still have 11 game to play against. So on the 11 game, I believe they can win maybe 7 of them, right? That will give them 14 points. If they play again 25 game, they have still have 14 game play again the team on the playoff. They win at least 5 game. Plus the 6 game that'll give them 11 game winning, that'll give them 22 points. Plus the rest of the game, guys, or the 30 game they still winning to still to play. Calgary is at the good position, guys, to give a better pick for the Montreal Canadiens. From what you can see there, that could be a really good way for the Montreal Canadiens to get um, a second round pick. That would be right here. Try to get the Flame could help the Montreal Canadiens to have 2 picks on the top 16 at the NHL Draft 2025.
I love that you're it's not hard to tell that the Calgary Flames are now your second favorite team in the NHL. You're doing your deep dive research. You're doing your deep dive research on what they need to do. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, obviously, as a Canadiens fan, it's a deal, and Calgary is a team that matters to Montreal right now. And I love that you're doing your deep dive research into what's left for them, and what they need to do, and all of that stuff. And they look like they're in a pretty good position, and I think that's important, as well as the fact that they have. I mean, I still remember the the Canadiens game against Calgary. Like, Matt Coronado was spectacular in that game. So they've got a good squad, and I think they have a chance of helping out the Canadiens, as you say.
Glad to hear about Coronado. I think Coleman have a good year so far, but the goaltending there is a little bit different for them. Wolf and Vladar make a better season for the Calgary Flames, but they are really solid every game. The GSVA is, the top, and NHL, when I say top, not, I mean, they are really good GSVA, and it'll be easy, right? But I think it could help in Montreal. They select 2 pick of the 16 guys. I think that would be not push the rebuild faster, but that will give them a better chance to be more successful if they get 2 good pick about this. For me, listen, Michael Meza, Caleb Desnoyers could be a solid pick for the Montreal if they have a chance to get him. So we have to see what they look like for sure. 50 more games, but for me now, I'm watching the season. It's fun to watch the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flame every night when they play. I'm skipping a couple of teams in NHL. I apologize, but it is what it is at this moment. I want to finish with 2 questions here, if you don't mind. One is this one. I don't know if you can read that one. It's coming from that Shudder Star. And I know I put this big. I will go to delete that one over there. But he said, hey, Coach, my question is from an experience from other sport. But how do you educate young players on their development and their first 2-3 years compared with Salve, who works hard every day? I think he talk about Sarkowski. He work every day. So how do you educate players and the first 2-3 years in NHL? I can give any. I can answer you right now if you want to, and then you can add more.
You go first, Coach, and then I'll go. You're the coach. But I have some thoughts on it as well. But I'll let you go first.
Well, if you want to, if you have a thought, you can go. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, for me, I think there's a few things you raised there. I mean, to me, if you're going to educate young players and you're going to develop young players, I think, I think that the environment and the atmosphere that you do that in, I think, is very important. I think that the HL for years has been a place where where we believed, or some people still believe, that tough love is to teach young players, and that you need to sort of you need to be hard on them, and you need to sort of teach them by by punishing negative performance as opposed to the other way around. It's one of the things that I really, really like about Martin St. Louis and the Canadiens rebuild, is that they've kind of abandoned that approach. You know, they've brought in a coach who's a teacher, who's not a guy who's going to say, okay, well, as long as you're playing well, I'm going to let you play, but when you play badly, I'm going to bench you, or I'm going to yell at you, or I'm going to do whatever. He's a guy who is going to give you an opportunity to learn from your mistakes. He's going to surround you with all of the resources that you could possibly need. He's going to, positive affirmation, right? He's going to, give you, credit and positive affirmation when you do things right. And communication. I mean, I think communication is the key, right? For me, this team, and again, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but my impression, having listened to the coaches and the players, is that there's a ton of communication that goes on between the players and the coaching staff, whether it's, what their expectations are from you, what they want your role to be on the team, or whether it's, this is what we're seeing from you, and this is what we need you to improve on, or this is what we like. And I think there's a ton of communication that goes on between the players and the coaches, as far as expectations and performance and everything like that. And I think you need to have that dialogue ongoing with your players in order to have them succeed. And I always bristle and kind of get upset when I hear people talk about coaches sending messages, right? We're going to say, we need to send a message. We need to send a message. We're going to take a veteran and we're going to put him in the press box for a game to send a message to the team. Well, if you're sending messages in code by doing things like that, to me, you're not communicating properly with your team. If you want to send a message to a player, talk to him like a human being, right? And so to me, communication is very important. You should be meeting with your players. And I know you are, individually or as a team, you need to be meeting with these guys all the time so that they know what's expected of them. They know whether they're meeting their expectations, and they know, and they're getting the positive and negative feedback that they need to get. So again, I think that, hockey needs to change. I think it is changing. I'm really proud and happy to see that the Montreal Canadiens have embraced this change in coaching philosophy. And I know I said I only had a couple thoughts about it, and then I just talked for like 5 minutes about it, Coach. But that's sort of where I'm coming at it from. I think there's a new way to coach, and there's a new way to develop players. And you, Shatterstar, you say you come from other sports. I think other sports have adopted this, this different approach to coaching more easily than hockey has. And I'm really happy that the Canadiens are a part of that.
Great comments about that. Great overall to explain to Saul what it looked like. For me, it's skate at the first 3 years in the NHL or any sport. The biggest thing, it's all about, Devin, to learn to become a professional hockey player. This is what the most important things. Because if you cannot understand what it takes, that's the most difficult things at the beginning of the 3 years in NHL. This is what came from when I went to the NHL Coaching Association meeting. Mike Babcock said that. Claude Julien said that. Who was Mike Yo said that. Where the first 3 years is to teaching the kid to understand to become a professional hockey. And when he said that, it's not about only the work ethic, right? It's what it takes to be and survive to stay in NHL. So it's about every details of the game. One, the recovery, your nutrition, the spend time at the locker room after the practice, right? Practice your shot before the practice start. All the details and what it takes to become a professional hockey. Accept the pressure, accept your responsibilities. off ice, on ice, and I can go all the way. Dealing with the traveling, the first, the first year, example, play every 2 game, uh, the recovery, and then to adapt at the style to become a hockey professional. This is the most important thing at the first 3 years, 2 3 years in NHL. Of course, it comes with just everything you said, right? The communication, the way they develop players, the culture of the team, and I can go the way the market where you play. When you live alone, example, do you have a, the first year, Sakiski was a Billy family. Now he stay alone, and I can go the way. I don't want to say anything, but Sakiski have a girlfriend now. So what is adapt him? I know it says because the girlfriend have a bad year. It's not my point, but it's all the details like this. For me, it's always been to become a professional, learn to become a professional hockey player. That's the only thing I can explain to you about that.
Yeah, and you make great points. It's kind of why I talked about resources, right? Like as a hockey team back in the day, historically, these kids were kind of thrown in the fire to kind of figure it out for themselves, right? They had, yeah, they had veterans who, some would be good role models and some probably not so good role models. But nowadays, I think teams take that more seriously, and we see the Canadians taking that seriously, and you know, it's why I think guys like Gallagher and the veteran, David Savard and Josh Anderson, and they're important on this team because Gallagher in particular, Gallagher to me is a perfect example of a kid who probably struggled initially in his career to figure out how to be a professional. And now he's a consummate professional. He's a guy who's, you look at his diet, you look at his fitness, you look at, the way he does everything, the way he acts, the way he deals with the media, all of these things. And I think he's a great role model for these guys. And again, I think it's important that the team that the team recognize that this is important, and they give them the resources so that they can, like you said, some of these guys, are going home and playing Xbox and eating craft dinner every night and staying up until 3 a.m.
Yep.
Like that's kind of, you listen to Spit and Chicklets, some of these old guys who are retired now, they talk about what it was like when they first came to the NHL, and they're living in an apartment with 3 other rookies or 3 other young players, and they're eating cup of noodle and playing video games until all hours of the night, and they're they're showing up at practice the next day, and they're they can barely get out of bed in the morning, and some of them are good enough to be to still pull it off, but there's a lot of them that that can't, and that's not going to work in the NHL anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm watching Ottawa on the power play right now against Calgary. But great comments about this, guys. I will have to try to answer to Excel, but I asked him if he was still here. He did not answer. I don't want to talk about something he's not there, so I don't want to repeat. The next time we'll be here. So I will wait for that last question he asked us. But look, David, I think at 20 years old, let's all calm down about Sarkozy. He'll be a beast when he's again, I'm not discouraged about Sarkozy, by the way. The time we tell us a little bit more at 20 years old cannot, you cannot thinking he's going to be a boss in NHL. We have to wait a bit longer for sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, Slavkovsky is. Yeah, I mean, Slavkovsky is struggling, by all indications, but he's still on a pace to score 50 points. He's still on pace to have his second 50-point season at the age of 20. And we all know that his best hockey is ahead of him, unless absolutely completely tanks and disappears, which I don't think anybody sees coming. So at the end of the day, if you've got a 20-year-old kid who's got 100 points under his belt in the NHL, that's not the end of the world, especially when it's a scenario where you definitely see room for improvement. If he was playing great hockey and getting 50 points, and this was the best you thought he had in him, that might be more of a concern. But to me, he's scoring at a 50-point pace, even while not playing as good as we all know he's capable of. And so I'm not deeply concerned about him at this point.
You're absolutely about that. Iman scored a goal. Now it's a 2-1 Boston Bruins. 11 goal. Iman is hot, ladies and gentlemen. Um, and Vladar make a big save back to back. You have a chance, guys, watching a clip for the Columbus Blue Jacket, watching the save of McCliskey, Mersklicken. Anyway, a three save back to back to back. This is the highlights in the NHL right now. I will see you. Pittsburgh tied the game 4-4 again in Nashville, guys. Nashville cannot win easily. They gave 2 times, maybe 3 times the lead tonight. Pittsburgh came back every time. And don't be surprised Pittsburgh win an overtime that game. I just said that. I don't want to say more about this one over there. Devin, we did a great job. Maurice Rabillard, welcome everybody. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes if you don't mind. We signed Sakowski's contract too early, not to worry. I still believe it was the right pick for us, but it was not rushed to offer that second play. It's a new way, Maurice, to control the contract right away. They don't want the plus. Like right now, it's going to be RFA this summer. So you sign after that, RFA is going to get a lower contract. He's going to have a bridge contract. So he may be signing a 3 years contract at $5 million. Now he's going to be 25 years old, and now he's going to have no contract. He's going to be 1 year before the UFA. The key they gave their contract at young age, guys, is 2 things. First of all, secure the player to stay with them for a minimum 7-8 years. Second thing is to get a lower value of the contract at long term. And at the end, no guarantee the player develop, but those kind of players usually they get there. And that's rare happening. The most I would said different is maybe Austin Matthews. That's only we signed a short contract, but he paid off. Look about what happened with Quinn Hughes, and sorry, Devin, I got distracted. They just showed 2 people and the Calgary Flames. This is a high cheese. I'll be honest with you, Devin. This is the top high cheese in Calgary.
A lot of cheese at the Calgary Flames game.
Whoa. I think the cameraman is not following the game anymore.
Do we have time for me to ask you a question, Coach, before we leave?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was a debate that came up in my live the other day. It was brought by a guy who was really trying to call me out, but he asked me whether I would rather have Nick Suzuki on my team or Tim Stützle. Won't tell you what my answer was because I want to hear yours first. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about who you would rather have on your team, not for right now, but for going forward, like for the rest of their career. Which of those 2 guys would you rather have? Keeping in mind that we're both Montreal Canadiens fans, I guess.
Yeah, I honestly, Suzuki right away. I just does not feel or think, and I think Roy would back me up about something he heard too. The behavior, the behavior is the Susla is not what you're looking for with a team. That's my only concern about him. He's a great. I think he's more talented than Suzuki. But I think Tim Souza's problem.
Offensively.
I think the problem for him is going to be his mindset. That'll be the only way I can tell you about that one over there. I think Souza will have more points than Suzuki, but if you want to have a good model players, Suzuki all the way, like not close as Souza.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I went with it. I mean, for me, I think that offensive production wise, I think Stützle is the better player. You would expect Stützle to put up more points than Nick Suzuki, and I think he's got more offensive skill and talent, as you say. However, that said, Nick Suzuki has been putting up some pretty good point numbers himself, and not far behind in the category. From a defensive and all-around perspective, 2-way forward, I think Nick Suzuki is substantially better than Tim Stützle. And then, the added layer is what you bring up, Coach, is this, there's questions about, his attitude, on and off the ice. I mean, we see it on the ice a little bit. He's a bit of a, I don't know. I just find that he seems to have a bit of an attitude. I think that that they're one of the reasons why that team doesn't succeed is because I think some of their young leaders do have some issues with with their attitude and their personality and so on. So yeah, I think you and I are on the same boat as far as that goes. I'm sure that the Ottawa fans will call us homers, but I would take Nick Suzuki. No questions asked. I would take Suzuki over Stützle. Not a question for me.
Great point about that. And Roy was explaining to me what happening in the locker room a couple of years ago with D.G. Smith behind the bench, but another story about that one there. Nick Cousin got hit a fight with Pacal, and then we got Buddy Kachuk on the locker room, high sick in the face for Michael Backlund. Now, Ottawa on the power play for the next 4 minutes. Not a good news for the Calgary Flames about that one over there. That's it. That's all, guys. I think we reached the end of the show, guys. We did very good, Devin, together. Hopefully, you enjoy that time to be with the Hockey Nation Live show tonight. Before you leave, if you don't mind, after I finish the show, stay with me in the locker room and the green room, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I have two questions for you, if you don't have about something. And I want to thank everybody to be a part of the show tonight. Devin as the co-host. I think that's the first time, Devin, we was one-to-one with me, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of nice not to have Marco and Antap disagreeing with everything I say. So much more fun with just you and I, Coach, I think.
We appreciate that. No, it's I think it's, as a co-host, it's more fun when you have a one-to-one because you're more active, right? You better more time to answer everything like that, so it's more flowing. You flow more with when you have a one-to-one. So we appreciate your time for sure, David. We want to thank Moderator Luciano tonight with us also, and we want to thank all the people. Click on the likes. We'll be back tomorrow night for the game Montreal Canadiens. Saturday, Montreal Canadiens again. Both again Detroit. But Sunday, guys, we invite everybody. Christmas party at the Hockey Nation. Join us live. We're going to talk about different things. We have a co-host going to join us live. We're going to invite people, talk to us, and I think it will be a great time to be all together. Like we do at the end of the show. Here's the man of the night, the first star of the game.
You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
Like you know the ritual now. Be well, be healthy. Find a way to not only donate your vape, but find a way to donate the second app or what, Devin?
2024.
He did it. Thanks so much, Devin, to be with me tonight. Stay the look at the green room. We'll be right back with you. All the people in the chat, we appreciate a lot. And I can wait to see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Montreal versus Detroit. Have a great night, Devin.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for having me. And guys, check out my Recliner Sports 4. It's my channel on YouTube. Come check us out.
Thanks so much. Join Devin on his YouTube channel. Great place to be after the game. One of Montreal play after dark. Here we go, guys. This concludes another show tonight. Hopefully, you have a great time. We want to thank a lot of people in the chat. Cash Fence, welcome back, by the way. Nicholas, a great one. Nicolas, Mark, appreciate your comments tonight. N26 and Rabinoff. For you earlier was active. We see Pizza. We see Excel. We see RJ Calabro shop at the last minute. So many of you guys sharing your countenance about hockey from Montreal Canadiens. I think it was a great show tonight talking about each one of you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Montreal versus the Detroit Red Wings. Don't forget the party Sunday night. Until then, my friend, here we go. Oh. Forgot that. Booyah!